Hello, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Beverly Hills View. Our guest today is award-winning artist and educator Yoshio Ikezaki, who was born and raised in Japan, graduated from Florida State University with a Bachelor of Arts in Painting and a Master's of Fine Art. He then went home to study traditional papermaking with the Matsuo family. He taught at Masashino Art University and Tama Art University. In California, Yoshio has held the position of professor at the Art Center College of Design and at the Southern California School of Architecture called SciArc. Yoshio has lectured and shown his work at colleges and museums across the United States, and his art has also been exhibited in the European Union, Asia, and Japan. The Kylan Gallery, right here in Beverly Hills on Little Santa Monica Boulevard, is representing him, and we're happy to welcome Yoshio. Tell us a little bit about the gallery. We just saw a picture of it.
Yes. Kylan Gallery opened last year. I joined that from the very beginning of their establishment, and they have my oldest work from maybe 1980s to very current artwork, showing about maybe 50 paintings and sculptures and my collages there.
What kind of physical building is it? Because I drove by it and it looks great. It's in an old complex of buildings.
It's all the complex of building, and it has a second floor, first floor and second floor, showing mainly my work entirely for first floor. And second floor, they have some blue chip stars prints like Rauschenberg's and San Francis.
So they covered the whole gamut of art collecting.
Yes.
So if you go in to buy Yoshio's work, you can see other things too.
Exactly, yes.
When was your calling to be an artist?
Well,
how old were you? Were you young?
Yes, I actually started my swimming education when I was 10 years old. And I had a tutor near my house that my mother sent me. That's how I started swimming ink with Mr. Somei Kusaka. He was a well-known Japanese painter.
Did they consider those people who educate you national treasures, or is it a different category?
Yeah, it's a little different categories, but it's very rare that my master has the apprenticeship at that time, like 10 disciples live in a house that training very closely. And I'm the only kid that commuted from my house like every Sundays that
to learn
to learn how to draw bamboo orchid and chrysanthemum and so forth. Yes.
Well, you had all this training in Japan. How did Florida State come into the being?
Yeah,
so far.
Some people asked me. I was 20 years old. I visited a museum in Yokohama. I met the person, Arthur Deshay. He actually is a professor, at that time was a professor at the Florida State University.
Oh.
And he had a major exhibit in Japan. So I came up to him and asked him, where are you from? And he said, well, I'm a professor. And say, wow, I want to go to Americas. And he said, come to me. So
what kind of art was he doing?
He was doing like a woodblock print.
Oh,
very large size woodblock print.
And was he learning in Japan as well?
No. At that time, I don't know he learned from Japan or not, but very extraordinarily powerful woodblock artist.
Because woodblocks are also very...
In Japan, very popular, yes.
The other thing is you're very closely, after you did all of your training and your schooling in Florida, you're closely related to California. You're like one of ours, being a professor here.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, after I finished my study, very traditional Japanese papermaking with Matsuo-san family, and he told me that maybe I should teach this because of that. We are losing the craft, and so I was thinking where to be the best, and I make paper sculptures, and it's very difficult to dry. So Southern California is the best place for
is that
drawing.
right?
Yes, this is exactly the reason that
Because of our weather?
yes. And then I applied to get job from Art Center College of Design in SIAC, and they just say, come right away. So
That's fantastic. You talked about Matsuo,
yes.
father and son.
Yes.
And why were they so great at papermaking?
Well, Shigemi Matsuo was at that time vice president of papermaking unions, and he was very well known to the in Japan, and also they had a big studios, and but they don't really teach or train people who wants to be an artist. So
just for papermaking?
yeah. So if I want to be a papermaker, maybe he can teach me. But I had a hard time first to start.
But so what kind of papers do they make? All kinds of papers?
They make specially for Japanese archival mending tissue paper.
Mending?
Yeah, it's like a library needs some kind of strong papers to mend that old needed repairing for documents and things. But they also prepare art, crafts and art papers. And
do people all over the world make paper like that, or is it just Japanese?
it's in Japanese because we do specialize in mulberry bark, which is not known to other countries, but maybe these days, yes.
Is making paper a important part of your artwork?
Very important, because my sumi ink and the paper sculptures actually, it is only I specialize in mulberry bark to produce paper, and knowing the characteristic of my papers is a great help to understand how sumi ink moves and how that
it moves on the paper?
Yes, moves on papers, and how that stacking the sheets of papers to become sculpture. I needed very strong result. So
why do they call it traditional paper making? Do they still make it in the same way that they used to?
This is 1,300 years old Japanese traditional crafts, but it's a little by little, the years goes by, and less people really heritage from their families, but still we have maybe major 40, 50 families that in a village doing in Japan.
Is that
exactly
right?
Same way.
Do they all do it the same way? So it's like part of the family?
Yes.
And have they learned from the Matsuo brothers? Or,
Yes,
I mean, father and son, I'm sorry.
Actually, those are like a family-oriented business. So like if you are relatives of families or your son of family, they succeeded, Yeah.
So why do they call it traditional paper? They're making it today, and they're making it in the old way, right?
Yes. But I think we have like maybe 100, 150 years old papers that from generation to generation, they do exactly make same paper. So we call washi,
Oh, is it? Oh, first of all, tell me what they actually use. What's kozo?
Okay, kozo is a mulberry family.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
And the bark that we specialize in.
I see.
And the other thing is the mitsumata. They use for like a bank bill, like Japanese.
They make currency out of it? I mean,
they are kind of secret about how many percentage of the inclusion of it, but yes, they do include some.
From the kozo?
From Mitsumata.
Oh, from Mitsumata.
Mitsumata is a little different family of the mulberry, but the same kind, long fiber.
That's what you need?
The bark, yes.
And where do those trees grow? Do you grow them specially for this?
Yes, well, in Japan, maybe several parts in Japan, they specialize in growing those things.
Certain areas.
And also Korea and Thailand, and these days.
They do?
Yes, they do.
And do they make those in Korea and Thailand? Do they make the paper there too?
They do, yes. These days, yes. Similar papers, yes. Mm-hmm.
Similar, but not the same.
Not really, yeah,
I
not
see,
the same.
I see. Your relationship as an artist seems to be with your paper. And you make it because you have that relationship. Do the brush strokes make a difference on the paper?
Yes, exactly. I do many different brush strokes, and ink is very important to be set on the papers, and I make a paper wet. So this is my technique that involved with, sumi ink painting. So paper becomes so important for me to know all the characteristic thickness and how you precisely make the surface or rough or whatever you make. I design it.
How long does it take you to make a piece of paper, and how many pieces of paper can you make at a time?
It maybe takes few different preparations. Maybe it takes 1 week to be ready, and then I make maybe 300 sheets a day.
Oh, you can?
If I work from 9 to 5, maybe yes.
Does someone help you?
Yeah, somebody can help me, but mainly, preparations is different parts, so that some people help me.
So you're moving from place to place. So you have a big vat.
I have big vat, and
you have water in it.
Water in it.
What else? And this fiber.
Yeah, and we includes that the special glue, like a very slippery liquid called neri.
Where do you get that?
Actually, that's they grow in Japan. It's a root of the vegetable, and
so it's all organic.
Everything is organic, yes.
So you use a root as the glue, and that mixes.
Yeah, mix it to the fiber. That you scoop the fiber. Water drains a little slow because of the slippery liquid that are involved inside.
I see.
Yes, that's
and then how do they dry?
They used to do everything in like sun dry, but these days I think because they produce a lot, so they have a heated sort of a table, steam it from the bottom, and then they probably dry one paper for 1 minute.
Is that right?
Yeah, but before.
So it's really time consuming.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time a minute.
These days, yes. It depends on, different types of papers. Yes.
Okay, now, before I go any further, so that I'm straight, tell me what washi art is. What is it?
Washi artist?
Washi art.
Washi art, yes.
Is what?
Yeah, washi art is art that they use washi paper. That's a washi art.
And then what is sumi art?
Okay, sumi art is like in front of me that this is a sumi ink that it is one of the good ones that I own, and this is made out of soot. And soot. And it's a carbon. And what they do is that they include, this is an animal protein, gelatins, that it's come from like cow skins, and when they collect the soot from like a burning oil and then collect the ashes, and they include this, melted this with the maybe 70 degrees Celsius water, yes. Without this,
it has spikes on it, spines on it.
Yeah, this looks like agri, but when it melts into hot water, it'll kind of work as adhesive.
Adhesive, I see.
Yeah, so sumi ink is a permanent pigment because of this included in the soot. Otherwise, it never stays.
And is the soot come from a certain kind? You have to have a certain kind of soot?
Rapeseed oil is one of the very common oil that they burn and to collect the ashes. And in China, this is actually come from like the Chinese sumi ink that they burn pine resin and pine trees.
So they actually, to make the soot for the sumi, sumi ink, they have to prepare that all.
Yeah, artists choose their little favorite colors. This one comes from like colors that a little blue, grayish black.
But it looks all black, right?
Yeah, but when you look at it very carefully,
pine, maybe it looks green.
Yeah,
if you use
brownish. Maybe Japanese rapeseed oil or rapeseed oil, they make more brownish.
And so does that tell the story also of your work?
Yes.
Depending on what colors you use?
Because of the Japan, we have a very distinctive 4 seasons, and my sumi ink painting kind of specialize in like a daily life in a very wild landscape, and then the temperatures, and like if I like to have like a morning temperature, I like to use a bluish black because of the little bit more cooler.
So you have a different piece like this?
Yes,
and
I do
and what does this do, this block?
You have to have ink stones like this. You put the waters in, and then you start to grinding it on top of it. And
so
then
the soot then turns into the water or the color?
It melted into like a water, and it'll become black ink inside here. So
And then you have so many different brushes.
Yes.
So is this brush stroke called calligraphy or not?
No. Calligraphy
it's totally different.
Yeah, calligraphy and painting are a little different. Calligraphy is more like writing a word, like a character.
Do you use that?
I do use that, but mostly I paint with a painting brush, which is a little different function to brushes that are longer or shorter or.
So calligraphy, each thing means something, right?
Yes,
Each
yeah.
mark.
Pictorial Chinese characteristic. Yes.
And does that happen with your brushes also if you're
Yeah.
doing your own artwork?
I did 10 years. I did the writing of Hanya Shingyo Heart of Sutra, which come from Buddhism. And I did writing lots of word, like time to time. So.
And do you do that in Sumi ink?
Yeah.
Oh,
We
and then-
all do the sutras and things with Sumi ink.
Oh, but it could be different colors too
Yeah.
then.
Different colors.
Depending
but,
on the stories,
right.
maybe?
It is, because they choose,
So each stroke means something different.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Do you use an easel?
I don't use an easel. I always use table or I sit on the floor to paint because my way of doing with hands, I need to make myself very comfortable. I cannot do on this because
Will it drip
yeah,
too?
ink drips it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you show us? I know you brought a piece of paper
Yes.
that you made.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just hold these brushes up.
Okay,
They're so
sure.
fantastic.
This is very big.
Very big and very heavy.
Yes.
And does it get all wet?
Yeah, I think it's get all wet, and it depends on those are animal hair that come from different animals. Depends on how that you like with the pressures that makes that hair
color.
behave itself.
Oh.
So
But this is also part of this whole
thing,
circle.
yes.
Is the brush making. Who
Brush
makes your
making.
brushes?
In Tokyo, there is a couple of places that I always visit, and I talk to them what the best.
Do they make it for
They-
you then? Because look, we have these little brushes. Are they the
Some
same?
of them, they made. Some of them I bought it from the store because each sort of brush has a different function to it, and so time to time you buy it, and then always like maybe 2-3 years, you cannot use it anymore because of my case. I use a lot of pressure and damage stuff.
Oh, so they lose their
I
strength.
loses a lot of strength.
I mean, this looks like you could buy it from the paint
Yeah.
store.
But this is a very special one. It's a pig hair that really gives me very good to make the paper wet.
Strong.
Yeah, very wet.
Very
yeah.
stiff. Can you show us just a little
Yes.
stroke here? I know
Sure.
you have this
Yes,
paper.
I
Should
just
we bring
wrote
it up?
Yes, right. Actually,
Do you sit or stand?
yes. Actually, paper have to be all wet, and today we don't have little. I just want to make a little more wet, and I can show you just phenomena of the how ink behave itself. I'm just going to paint on top of it.
This is just to show us the stroke from each
Yes.
different kind of brush.
This is like you can. This is like I can see little bluish black.
Oh, and it's moving, and then
Yes.
it spreads with
Yes.
the water.
Yeah. This
How
is,
do you control it?
Well, actually, I've done this for thousands of times, and I can read the movement of the ink.
So you put more pressure, less pressure.
Yeah,
is that
something
it?
like that, or sometimes you make more fast or slow makes that inks a little bit different too. So this is like
Do you use music?
I do sometimes. Yeah.
And what kind of music do you use?
You don't believe that I listen to bossa nova.
Do you? But that doesn't look like the beat of this work, does it?
Well, sometimes I think the different music helps, but I cannot really hear hard rock because it drives me crazy. Too.
But you don't listen to traditional Japanese
Yeah, I do
music?
that. I do like
you?
shakuhachis or kotos or.
Yeah.
Yes, I do that. Yeah.
Have you ever had live musicians come into the
yeah.
studio?
I do have collaborations with lots of different artists, including musicians and I do demos of the big painting in front of them, and they play the music behind.
That's fabulous. So
something like
is
that.
this a regular size paper? I think you have another paper under here.
I do have a lot of paper I brought, but this is something very fine paper, and this is
But you made this paper too?
Yeah, this one.
And then the paper that you have?
This one, you just, I want to, people to see how tough this paper is.
And for mending, would that be for?
This paper is the paper that I made for sculpture reasons, but see like how.
Here, I'm going to tear this here, and I can see these little pieces coming.
This is actually from maybe 6 millimeter to 1 centimeters. It's mulberry has this long hair. That's why paper is very strong.
I see.
Cotton sheet is only 1 millimeter, so about 5-6 times longer than others.
I see. So you can calibrate the way the brush strokes go.
Yes.
You use the pieces of the handmade paper.
Yes.
All goes into this this piece that you do. So it's like, I mean, your brushes have to be handmade. The paper has to be handmade. You have to have a certain kind of soot that's made into the ink. What does the term ma mean?
Oh, ma is the Japanese aesthetic term that talks about a void. And
a void?
Void, and also I can translate, I translate it more correctly. Ma is like a deliberately delayed sound, or like something it's already fulfilled so that you cannot really edit anymore. For instance, my...
I was just going to ask about this. Does this have the same feeling that we just saw?
Sumi ink painting, I always remain a lot of like a cutout paper, because it's nothing on it, and like a bottom and a top. That for me is like a perfect balance between positive, like a sumi ink occupied and non-occupied areas.
Like the void?
Void, and how you feel. It's because each artist has a different, idea of ma, and my ma is something that I like to enjoy. This is it. When I feel like I finished.
It's like your own feeling, ma? That's the way you approach a painting? But how do you get this? Do you use something around the side to give you your hard edges?
Not really necessarily. Always, like I use different kinds of sizes. But maybe, John, Japanese no and kabuki.
Yes.
See, like all the musician has a non-verbal communications. It's called that we call ma, which means that contacting eye to eyes, and I play one sort of note, and then the other guy responds to that, but little delays. That means that, okay, I understand your meaning. And
so you speak to each other in the void in a way, just by movement, by quietness?
That's right, that's what ma is about.
But there's all different kinds of Japanese dance that you say.
Yes, so not only for painting or, all the martial artists even.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah, same. Like it's a distance. It's like a space. It's called ma.
So it's like stop.
Yes, exactly.
And actually live in that moment.
Yes, exactly. You have to feel ma to understand yourself and also to other people. That's called ma. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad I asked you. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back in a minute and talk to Yoshio about his sculpture, because we have a piece on the set. And as he was saying, it takes layers of his handmade paper to work this way. So we'll be right back.
Okay.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Beverly Hills View. I'm with artist Yoshio Ikezaki, who's represented by the Kylan Gallery on Little Santa Monica and Beverly Hills. He spent a lot of time in California. And welcome, and tell us a little bit. We're going to go back to California because we've covered Japan quite well.
Right.
You started this American-Japanese exchange at the art schools, Art Center in Pasadena and SciArc, which is downtown. So what does an exchange mean, and how do you go about doing it?
For instance, like Art Center and Tamad University, they have some great ideas, the same ideas of how all the students have to go overseas to experience different culture and diversities. And we decided some maybe design students like illustrators and product designers and those, and including maybe SciArc, like architecture student. They are very interested in Japanese cultures and Japanese buildings and so forth.
So it's more cultural than painting?
Yes. Not more like, I did separately, I did the Los Angeles and Japanese artist exchange. I did through ArtCore, and I'm a curator of that. And still it's continued for this is probably 16 years.
So Art Center, you're a professor there.
Yes,
Did that help in getting this program started?
Yeah, it was hard to first, kick off, but yes.
What did you lecture about at Art Center?
I teach Japanese aesthetics and philosophy, and also I teach some studio like paper making and what they can do with papers.
Oh, that's a totally different thing to give the aesthetics and the background and the culture of Japan.
They need some kind of information,
You also, when we talked about SciArc, which is the Southern California Architecture Institute. Is that important to architects to learn about brush strokes or to learn about painting?
Well, I think that it's very helpful for them to understand the structures and the space treatment, since those ink painting had certain rules and certain maybe limitations for what they can do, they cannot do. And American way is everything free, but
we can do everything, right? But this shows the
we gave some kind of rules to follow, and it helped them to understand how they can really learn and then challenge for more difficult project.
Do those rules that you're talking about apply to architecture and the Japanese architects?
I think where we just mentioned about the Ma and some other ideas of like kan is like very much of the simultaneous sort of ideas that you can just create without any notions, and something like that is very much of the Japanese ideas.
How do you teach that? That's very difficult, right?
Sometimes I teach by paintings or teach by others, but teaching Japanese aesthetics to them helps a lot because I give a lot of samples and example of what other craftsmen and people deal with that.
Japanese craftsmen, native. Do these programs take place at other colleges throughout the United States or in the diaspora throughout the world?
I think when I started this, I did not see any other colleges doing, but since some maybe college in Michigan and New York, they started doing it, and now I think maybe few colleges and universities doing it.
So do you have a program that they can implement and they can...
I was asked, yes, to give them a lot of, especially Japan, if you bring to those people, their craftsmen and villages, their opens are not very wide open for people because of the different country, So
and it is more
you need
geared to
interaction.
their own
Yes.
lifestyle,
Yeah.
right? And for the tradition for
Yeah.
years.
So you must know those people personally so that they can welcome you and showing all those secret places. Yeah.
The secrets. Yeah, do they like to share the secrets?
Well, I think that I ask maybe, showing a much more like a farther area of the studio that they don't open to the public, but my advice.
Also, which brings to mind the fashion section in Japan too, which was in the 80s, a
Yes.
big
Yes.
leader in fashion. And did that have, now I'm thinking maybe that had to do with Ma and with different kinds of feelings with the way they approached the fabric they were using.
I really agree. Maybe talking about Issei Miyake, for
Yes.
instance, he was
Our favorite.
big fan of the paper. So his concept is like you don't need any like a sewing, only you to kind of wear one
Piece of
piece of
fabric.
fabric. Yes.
And that came from that idea.
Then he
also,
made a
he did
pleats and-
pleats.
yeah, pleats, yes,
And you
right.
can do that with paper.
Right. He actually demonstrated like before the pleats, he got idea because wrinkleness become the beauty of itself.
Just the wrinkles
Wrinkles.
become.
Yes. Right.
That's really interesting because I think I met you in the 80s,
Yes.
and it was during the time when I was so interested in Japanese fashion, and we
Right.
did a show of Issei's in San Francisco
Right.
and in Los Angeles, which I curated, and I never thought about the connection to what you were saying, even the sumi,
Yes.
and the ink,
Yes.
and the colors that he used, and the
Yes.
way they run.
And the ma, of course.
And the
that
ma, of
Ma is
course.
really,
So let's go to you had a show at the LA County.
Yes, right. Yeah.
And we have a picture of the installation, several pieces on the wall. Tell us a little bit about that. They're different colors.
Yes. Those are paper sculptures that I make paper one by one, stuck on top, and it takes like a month to dry, and afterwards I paint the colors after the dry. So
You paint after they're
right.
dried.
I actually have few pieces that I dye the fiber before I make paper, so its color comes out like a dyed colors. But those are like water-based color pigment that I painted on top of it. Yeah.
And did you do the installation yourself?
Yeah, this is like took me 4 hours to be there and.
And the lighting?
Yes.
So we have another sculpture. It's called Reborn Metal.
Oh, yes.
Was that also at LACMA?
That's no. This one is not on the LACMA. This was show at Art Center College of Design retrospective show this past spring, and this is a kind of special piece that 2011 we had a major earthquake, and so many lives are lost. And at that time I was teaching at Art Center, and I decided the kind of memorial piece I want to make for them for playing for them. So using actual my paper sculpture, I brought it to the foundries, and they burn, and then they pour like an iron, melted iron on top of it.
So that's the color?
Casting. It's a casting. Yeah. This is a bronze that.
So it's a casting, but what happened to the paper? It's gone.
Paper gone. Yes.
Paper's gone.
Yes.
We have a piece here
Okay, this
on
is-
the set,
yes,
but
this-
it's not metal.
Yeah. This is a real papers that. It
Tell
is
us
about-
how this comes about, because
Okay.
you said that there's like layers.
Yes, this is like a 40 to 50 sheets of paper I make one by one with a traditional way, and I stuck them and then I press them so that water exceed. Maybe 2-3 days later, it's still wet but a little hard. I can form with my hand, and those
Oh,
ring-
you form
Yeah.
all the shapes of
yeah,
that are formed
with my
your hand?
muscles, and just it's my kan and ma also that how I can really squeeze into certain shape that I feel I finished.
So what's the inspiration for these things? I know we have like volcanoes
Yeah.
and rain
Exactly,
and
yeah.
wind.
My original ideas come from the volcano many years ago that I wanted to make a sculpture, but this series I feel like maybe 2008, I start feeling some kind of dwelling bug in my heart, which very difficult to explain the shape because they are very free forms that they can walk around, climbing on the walls or flying or something like that. And I feel paper is so thin, but at the same time, it can be so bold. So this is a shape that it's in my heart that it's coming out.
Is that?
Yes.
We have another photograph of timeless.
Yes.
Timeless wind.
Timeless
right?
wind, yes.
Yeah. How does something like that come about?
Timeless wind is after the timeless auras. There's so many paintings that I titled that, and this is a Lagma piece that I'm currently showing until February 4. This is more of like horizon lines and maybe the skies and also that the waters. But sometimes sky becomes water, water becomes skies. And for me, it's like winds kind of brings that into ideas of the earth itself.
But is it reflection? Is
It's
it like a
yeah,
reflection?
like a reflections, yes.
But did you start it like this? This has a reflection
Yeah.
too, this piece? And did you do it like you showed us earlier, like with the line and then let it...
Difference between timeless auras and timeless wind. Timeless wind is more like my reading of Sumi ink in a very different way than timeless aura time. Now I did so many times, and it's almost like I've seen a drama of the you know.
Which reminds me of the last photo picture we have. This looks like
Yes.
a waterfall to
Yes,
me,
right.
or the earth opening up. It
Yeah.
could be anything.
Actually, I don't have any particular maybe way of defining this. This is actually water that I really meant it, but some people think this is probably the light or some kind of earth opening up, as you said. So very much like to me is like an abstract way of feeling something that I like to Sumi ink to move and to create certain forms. So,
but you're in control
Yeah.
of making those forms.
yes.
Before we leave, I know you stayed in Beverly Hills to be with us today.
Yes.
You were going to teach at the university,
Yes.
or lecture at the university in Tokyo.
Yes.
What were you going to teach them?
Well, I like to teach them what the people who really wants to learn the diversity of different culture that makes the things different. Because the Japan, we are the country that talks about art is mostly like lean into craft rather than pop art or fine art.
Interesting.
And, I like them to study and understand the world is so big that people have a different sort of idea. And so, I always give a point that how to distinguish between traditional or non-traditional, but it's not really necessarily traditional is better than untraditional. More like how that the people have a culture in their background, see different ways.
And can use it and to open up their world.
Exactly.
And
that's
you've
right.
opened up our world today.
I hope I did.
It was so great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yoshio Ikezaki, and you can see his work at the Kylan Gallery in Beverly Hills. And we thank you very much for being with us.
I thank you so much.
And thank you for watching the Beverly Hills View. I'm Joan Quinn, and we'll see you next time.